Buenos dias, good morning, welcome everyone. Welcome to Cafecito con HACE. I hope you have your coffee or your morning beverage of choice ready to go. My name is Patricia Mota. I'm currently serving as President and CEO for the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to positively impact workplaces by cultivating the pipeline of Latino talent, providing Latinos the insight, access, and development to be successful in their careers. And today's special guest, every now and then we get to feature one of our team members, is Vanessa Valentin, who is our Director of Marketing and Communications at HACE. Bienvenida. Good morning.
Good morning, Patricia. How are you?
I'm good today. It's been a morning, as I told you, those days today. But and I'm so happy that we get to feature you in this conversation today.
Here.
It's exciting, and for several reasons, as you all tuning in, we'll get to hear as we have this conversation with Vanessa today. As you're tuning in, please feel free to share your comments, engage in the chat, ask your questions. We'll have some time to address them. And, today, we always talk about when we start a Cafecito con HACE, the first question, and because Vanessa, I already know you, what is your morning beverage of choice? Because I know it's not coffee.
It is not coffee. I have never liked coffee for some reason, but I do love my green tea, which is what I'm drinking today, or a green smoothie. My fun thing to talk about today is this mug. It's a tea, and as you can see, both of my initials are V's. But what is really funny is I have 2 nieces, and apparently they were looking for a birthday gift for me, and because they know me as Titi Vane, they thought like that's my name, and that's why they fought my sister on getting a V versus a T for my mug. So that's why I love to have this mug. It always reminds me of how adorable they are.
Titi Vane. Hopefully the staff doesn't get wind, because then we're going to start calling you that.
Oh,
no. Good morning, Norma. Good morning, Jose. Thank you for joining us today. That's such a nice story. Vanessa, you know the drill, right? We like to share our stories here, and we have listeners, folks that are tuning in all across the board, from early young professionals, those more experienced. And one thing that's important for us is sharing stories, really to highlight the diversity of what our community represents, but also to empower those that are out there listening in their own career trajectory. One thing that you've mentioned before, you've shared, right? Vanessa is a boomerang employee, meaning, she spent some time at HACE prior to, without, worked at other roles, other organizations, and has recently rejoined the team. But Vanessa, you tell us a little bit about your cultural and your career trajectory.
For sure. Thank you. So I am Mexican American. My parents were both immigrants into the U.S., and my dad is actually Guatemalan and my mom is Mexican. But similar to Emmanuel's story last time, I was the first in my family to go to college, the first to try to figure it out. And something that made me laugh when I was listening last week is that he said, when we're growing up in that way, when we're the first, there's kind of 3 roles you're going to fit into: doctor, lawyer, or in business, right? And I explored all of them, and I explored even more as I was at Indiana University. But what I think is interesting and not unique to my situation is that exploring all these careers has given me an opportunity to really shape my career just to fit what I actually am passionate about, to what I actually really love to do, because I started off as a freelance journalist. Then I started to dabble in marketing, but at the same time decided to be a teacher to kindergarten and first graders for a couple years. And then after that, started working at HACE, working with partners and really talking a little bit more in the business development partnership engagement piece. Before deciding to really focus on marketing. And I stepped away from HACE for a few years to focus on growing in that space, in corporate and in another nonprofit. And now I'm back, and I feel like all of that knowledge and all of that information is giving me such an amazing opportunity now that, ASE in this past year has grown so much and continues to grow. And I'm excited to be leading our marketing team as we expand that, and as we continue to share not just the story of ASE and what we do, but most importantly, the story of our members, right? And their career stories that could be as, wild as mine, as like even wilder. And I think that's definitely what's exciting about shaping a career the way that I have.
And this is why I love having our team members joining us. Good morning, Angie. Thanks for joining us. I think I learned some new things, right? Teacher, Vanessa, that was new. Yes, I didn't know about that.
I have tried it all, and I think that's like really exciting. And I think I'm seeing a lot of people do that now again. And, when I'm growing up, and again, as the first, you kind of think like you're going to go in one path and that's it. Like you're going to just, and in some careers it is, right? When you're like a doctor, like, and even then though, you can change your career at the end of the day, anytime you want. But, what I loved when I was teaching some of our student programs at ASE a few years ago, I love to tell my students, like, it doesn't have to be this singular path. You can explore things, you can try different things. There's so many ways for you to experiment and really, again, find what works for you.
Yeah.
Which is, again, the environment we're in right now, which is really exciting.
Yeah. And you just, through your own story, Vanessa, you shared different ways in terms of you've pivoted along in your career and applied your skill sets and even different industries, right? Talking that you were in a corporate space as well, also nonprofit, dabbled, in education. And so I encourage everyone listening in to think of, if you're looking to transfer into a different industry sector, for example, think about how you can transfer your skill sets and apply them and really tie them in with what you want to continue to grow and learn and develop. And me personally, Vanessa, having known you all these years, because I've been with ASE, right, since you were with us last, it's been such a pleasure to see your growth and development and along the couple years and to come back and to really take ASE to the next level in terms, and we've been hearing it. I know folks, you've been hearing a lot more about ASE, and that's what really due because of our marketing communications team and Vanessa's effort. And so one of those things is we're collecting stories, right? And part of a campaign and featuring all of the impact and the great work that ASE has done over the years, leading up into next year, which is taking us to a 40th anniversary, which is super exciting. Can you tell us more about the campaign, and those that are tuning in that you had some impact or story connected to ASE? We want to also get you involved in this campaign that we have coming up.
For sure. Thank you, Patricia, because, this is what I'm really excited to talk about today. One of the biggest things that we are working on right now in our team and our marketing team is trying to tell the stories of our members as much as possible, and expanding that to not just, some of our key markets, because as we saw in 2020, we were able to expand from some of our programs from, what were you telling me the other day, Patricia, like 13 key markets to 25 now. Yep. And so, it's really exciting, and we want to share as many of those stories as possible. So we're collecting the stories, and we'll share a link, I believe, in the chat. So please feel free to follow the link and share your story. Let us know how ASE has impacted you, or even how you took your career again, in kind of shaped it your own way and what worked for you. And then, in a few weeks, we're launching a campaign called My Career, My Way. Stay tuned for it. We're really excited, in which we're going to be telling these stories that you'll be sharing. And just, I think the key here, again, is to share the stories, share the impact of ASE. But what I'm excited about is to let other people know that they are not alone when they're trying to make these transitions, trying to figure out what works for them, and seeing that many of us go through that. Many of us change, pivot, go back, as I came back. So we, it's okay, and we have such a beautiful network that you can reach out to and, ask for advice, or even, take it to the next level with mentorship and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, it's so exciting. So we'll look out for the link so that you all can share more information or join us and share your stories. Do you want to share more in terms of, we touched a little bit about now with the workforce shifting, right? Either folks going into entrepreneurship, transitioning industries. Some folks have not re-entered the workforce. And they've done that by choice, right? In terms of trying to figure out what's their next step right now. So there's a combination of reasons why we're hearing this war on talent going on. But I see that aligning with this My Career, My Way, in terms of encouraging folks to share not only how they've made a shift, but how perhaps they're making a shift right now, right? Like right now we're seeing a lot of that going on. And so those of you tuning in, like, we'll love to hear from you. If you have any stories or comments, we want to be able to really shed light to that moving forward in the next couple of months as well. And so any questions or comments, get them ready to share. Any advice, just given your own career trajectory, Vanessa, and before I jump into Julie, thank you for sharing. You're not alone in the career journey. It can be challenging to come out on top with the right support. It's important to stay resilient. I will also share why it's important. Thank you, Julie, for organizations like HACE to really leverage your HACE Familia. There was research done by LinkedIn about 2 years ago that posted that 85% of folks that landed a new career was through the network, right? I like to say more a relationship. So we really want, and we've been able to do this through our programs where folks really connect and get to know one another. But we really want your HACE Familia to be there for you. So ensure that you're asking for help. Sometimes we don't want to ask for help, and so we are encouraging you that you do so. So back to my other question, Vanessa. Let's say, what tips or advice do you have for those that are looking for their next role? I mean, we were all there, right? You were there recently when you were looking for a transitioning in your career. Any advice?
For sure. There's two things that have been key to any time I want to transition or grow or take that next step. The first is obviously network, right? Your network, reach out to your network in the roles that you are interested in, or who have experience in the company you want to work for. That has been so important, and I think we talk about that a lot at HACE. The other that I don't even remember where I learned this, somewhere in college, is the job description. I download countless and countless of job descriptions for the type of role that I want. And I look through the check and make it a checklist, right? And I think we hear a lot of the statistics about how women tend to, not apply when they fit like 95% of the role or something. And in order for me to combat that, because of the way that I am, is I used it more as a checklist and then said, okay, how can I take those 3 bullet points that I don't fit, and how can I build it into my experience now while I have that flexibility, or what can I do with that? And so once I felt more comfortable, then it's like, okay, now I feel ready to apply to these type of roles. But I feel like that is kind of like a to-do list for me. It lets me know what I need to grow in. And then another thing in marketing, I remember, because again, I spent a lot of time at HACE, and I feel I did a great job at, learning on the spot a lot of like our social media and how to market the organization in general. But when I started to look at other roles, a lot of the lingo was foreign to me, because that's not the way we talked about it at HACE. And I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't really understand what the job description was saying. And so that's why my network made a lot of sense for me, because I reached out to marketing folks who had experience, and I was like, what does this really mean? Because I don't really understand it in the job description, but I think I know, and I think I've done this. I don't use the same words. And again, as a first generation kicking off careers that were all different, that can trip people up sometimes. And I want to encourage people to not let that trip you up, because industry lingo it doesn't mean you don't know what it is. You don't know what it is, but it doesn't mean you don't have experience in it, right? And so you've got to like figure out a way to make your resume be understood by that industry. And I think those are the key things and the key tips that have worked in my favor whenever I'm looking for transitions.
Excellent tips. And I see Rebecca, who's one of our Emerging Leaders alumna. Hi, Rebecca, who says if you're fit 100%, you're already overqualified, right? We're talking about you want to be able to stretch and grow in your new roles. And the tips, Vanessa, that you just shared about, we talked a lot about the networking, but I think one thing that you mentioned that is so key is reaching out to folks that are in those roles or in that industry that can help you, whether with specific language or lingo. So making sure you're leveraging and reaching out. I mean, leverage LinkedIn, leverage HACE, right, as resources and tools to build up those networks. And then the second thing was on customization of your resume, right? Customizing the language, the words, so that when it goes, whether, some of these systems are automated these days or goes in the hands of the recruiter, they're able to catch those right away and at least get you in for that first step to getting closer to the roles, that interview, right? So it's so strategic that you do a lot of the work up front. So excellent tips. Hi, Leah. Job description and the checklist. I'm in HR and look at JDs constantly, but never applied the process to my own career growth. Awesome. So thank you, Leah, for your comment. And we appreciate, again, share this video, any comments, tag folks that you know that they believe could benefit from this. And we don't want to get away, because one thing we really wanted to highlight was we want your stories. And so you'll see the link on the comment section. Please submit your story so that you can be part of this asset campaign coming up. And so, Vanessa, my last question that we'll wrap up here with for today is, what are you what are you hopeful for, or a positive story that gives you hope for the remainder of 2021?
Yeah, I think, kind of to reiterate, I'm just really excited about the time that is happening right now. This war on talent that is going on is to the benefit of our members, right? It's to the benefit of those that are looking to transition, those that are looking to reshape their career. And 2020, as we all know, was a challenging year. And I think it showed a lot of us what we want and what we want to prioritize. And the fact that we have come to this place where members are feeling a lot more, brave, I guess, to challenge the status quo but at the same time, we see a lot of our partners willing to listen and willing to adjust. I think it's such a great, mix, and hopefully it's all leading to a really great space. I know not everyone has the privilege to, transition and to let their job go for whatever they want to prioritize. And so I feel very, very privileged to be able to do that. But, it's even more important to take advantage of it if you can. And so, I think it's a great year of reflection of everything we've learned, and how we want to move forward. And again, my career, my way is all about that. You have your career, and so how are you making it yours? And how are you really taking that step to take it to the next level and find that work-life balance that we all talk about so much. So yeah, I think that's what I'm really optimistic about.
Super, super proud of you, Vanessa. I'm glad you were able to join us today. And so our ACE Familia can get to know who our Director of Marketing and Communications is. Vanessa, un placer. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for all of you joining us today. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.